Welcome, everybody. This is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com, and in today's live stream, we're going to talk a little bit on how to draw hands. I'm going to do my best to see if I remember how to draw hands today. I appreciate you joining me. Yeah, let me lower my volume. Awesome, awesome. So I appreciate everybody giving me feedback on some lessons that you're looking for last week in the comments. For those of you who are watching today, if you want to leave a comment on what you would like to learn, that would be really, really helpful. So, all right, let's do this. Let's dive into it so I don't keep you all waiting. And I'm just going to start to draw momentarily here. But first, what I need to do is just put down a sheet of paper on my computer screen here. Let me just tape this thing down so I have something to draw on. And yeah, so, okay, cool. That's just a loose tape down right now. And I just want to move this maul stick. 1 second. Okay, now, time to switch scenes. All right, so we're going to go to scene 3. There we go. Okay, there's some nice hands. But, okay, listen to me. I just want to block you seeing my shirt down below over there, and I need to move my sheet of paper a little bit. So just bear with me a little bit while I adjust. Interesting. Oh, I see. Okay, so let me do this. Let me just move my sheet of paper over this away. Cool. All right, just getting situated. Oh, that's much better. Much better. Okay. So I'm just getting a sense of where my piece of paper is going. Perfect. I know. This is like must-see TV. So hang in there for 1 more second, and then I'll get started drawing with y'all. So, all right. The first thing that I really would like to do is just want to make this slightly bigger. The first thing that I want to do is I want to do a quick warm-up, and I'm doing it on my sheet of paper here, my scrap sheet of paper. And let's see, am I in the video here? Yeah, absolutely. So a warm-up for me is what? So it's the same thing every single week, people. I warm up this way. I like to do stacked ovals, okay, just to kind of get the feel of how my pencil feels on the paper. And I'm gonna, yeah, stacked ovals. Okay, stacked ovals. And actually, you know what? Let me go to a different scene because I just want to go here. There we go. Better. So you're not looking at reference that I'm not using. So stacked ovals. And then another cool thing that you could do with this is you can start to do a bunch of little circles. Now, I'm not doing such a good job using continuous line because I'm distracted making sure everything's set up properly. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying my very best to keep my pencil on the paper. Now, this truly is so important to me. Now, look, what I can also do is I can start to press down hard, press down hard, press down hard, and make like a thicker, more obnoxious line. And then if I wanted to also, I can go like a little bit lighter and go with a soft touch. Now, if I continue with this, I would do the letter C, and then I would do the opposite letter C, and then I would do the letter C again, one side of the oval, the opposite letter C, and then a long C for a little bit more of a line of action, and then a little C and a little C over here. Now, a couple people are like, Matt, you got to help me. Like, I member of my website doesn't feel the benefits of warming up this way. So let me get another sheet of paper here. So what I basically said was, all right, if that doesn't work for you, well, you can bring it right into almost like drawing a little torso. And that torso, let's see. Yeah, okay. So torso is, let me slow down. I don't want to get too sloppy. The torso is the 2 ovals, but I'm not really drawing the 2 ovals. So it could be, you know, center line, which is the letter C, and then I'm coming down to the foot, and then I'm coming back to the top of the head, which is another oval. I'm going around the shoulders. I'm going around the spine. Yeah, so this is a super duper quick way to loosen up. Now, you could either do it with just ovals, you can do it with letter C's, you can do it with circles, or you can do it with the actual figure. Okay, I think either or is cool. And for me, how I like to warm up is I really like to warm up doing this, and then you can do this thing that I like to call like mummification, where I do these like slinky lines, or we're wrapping linen around. So these are just like ellipses, and another really cool super duper way to loosen up your wrist and loosen up your hand. Now, if you look in the posts of drawingtutorialonline.com, my channel here, I meant to say here on YouTube, you can see I just uploaded a page that shows like how I'll do some loose drawings and some tight drawings on one sheet of paper. Okay, so what's this live stream about? Not doing circles and warm-ups and stuff like this, but I always do believe that this is crucial. So now I think what we need to do is we need to talk about how to draw hands, because that's really what this live stream is all about. So I'm going to still use a scrap piece of paper right over here, okay? So what I want to do is resharpen my pencil. Now, if you have any questions, hey, Javi Jav, greetings from Chicago. Looking forward to this session. Awesome. So I appreciate you joining us here today. Any questions, just let me know. Now, all right, listen, I just want to do this on this like little scrap piece of paper. So what you've got to understand about fingers, we're going to draw hands, but what you need to understand about fingers is that there's 3 bones in each finger, 3 phalanges, we could call them. Some people, it could be phalanx, it could be phalange. It doesn't matter, but there's 3 bones. So there's this first bone that is called your proximal, closest to your knuckles. And then there's another bone. I'm just kind of doing this out of my imagination quickly. There's another bone which is called your medial phalange, which means it's kind of in the middle. And yes, they kind of butt up against each other. And now there's the distal, which means furthest away from your hand. And there's a little phalange that kind of looks like that. And that's your fingertip. Now, again, I'm being super duper loose with this. But what you've got to understand with this is that there's this thing that I kind of, and I get it. This is loose. I'm kind of just doing it out of my imagination. I'm not really worried about perfection here. But there's this thing that I feel is super duper important, and that is this thing that I like to call the loop down. So the top of your finger loops down. The top of your medial phalange loops down, and your distal phalange, your fingertip area where your fingernail would be, loops down. So you've got to get this loop down and this loop down. And how that kind of translates to you drawing fingers would be that, you know, the let's see, is that on the screen? Yeah, cool. Okay. It's kind of looping down, it's looping down, it's looping down. And then the bottom of the finger kind of loops down as well, because that's where a little bit of your fat pad would be. So you never really want to draw a finger like this, where it's just, there's no loop down, and it's just kind of like this cigar shape. And it looks like a little chubby and a little weird and not kind of graceful. And so this is number one thing to think about. Now, the other thing, afternoon from England, Organic Paul. Hey, Paul, welcome to the live stream. I'm going to put my photo reference here momentarily up. I just wanted to kind of, let me get my grayscale here too, 1 second. I just wanted to kind of do some rough stuff. I'm still kind of warming up here just before we start. And okay, so now we've got this kind of finger looping down, fat pad, looping down. Now, the other thing that you do not want to do when you are drawing fingers is outline the fingernail. This is just my opinion. You could disagree. I've been doing this for years, and I find that when I outline the fingernail, everything just goes bad really, really quickly. It gets to be like a little bit more cartoony that way. So what you could do with a finger is suggest the outline of the fingernail, okay? Now, another thing that is helpful is actually showing the fingertip as a different value. So I might just kind of like shade that fingertip like that. And sometimes that starts at the fingernail, and then the fingertip is just a little bit more of a value versus the white of the paper. Okay, so now I can come on in here and I can adjust some things. So now what we need to do is we need to show on this finger here that there's the separation of the bones. So I could just simply do something like this and something like that and something like that. And that downward stroke on like a downward finger would really help to show the break of the joint, this joint over here that I'm showing you. So it would be distal phalanx, the medial phalanx, and the proximal phalanx. So there's those three bones. And so what you do not want to do is go across with like the straight lines like that. Like that is just not a good way to show the bend and the lines and the folds of skin in your hand like that. Okay, so now one last little thing, if I can take something from one of my favorite artists, George Bridgman, that would be that you would sometimes indicate a little roundness and a little bit of a side plane. So a little roundness and a little bit of a side plane with a couple of strokes of the pencil. Now, you could also just pick a side and shade it a little bit more. But what Bridgman really likes to do a lot is he just likes to do these like little lines where there's the folds of skin. And I think that's a really, really cool way to go about drawing a figure. I mean, the finger. The alternative is this, and we do not want this. This is a horror show. So it's just like a cigar finger with an outlined fingernail and lines that go all the way across the finger, which becomes very cartoony, and then it stops my downward flow from flowing gracefully down the fingertip. And really, what I like to do the most is, do I have room for this? Is I see this on like a lot of old master fingers, the way that they paint them. Like when I go to the museum, I'll kind of see the finger. It would look like that, and they're kind of shading like this, or making the fingertip feel like a little bit more red. I'm being a little bit loose here today, and there's just that different surface plane with the fingertip and how it would be a little bit more shaded. And then sure, not on the old master painting, but you could technically just suggest a little bit like that. And I think this is such a very, very fast way to draw fingers. And fingers really trip people up a lot. So that downward movement and just making the extreme fingertip feel a little bit more like a light midtone or a midtone is really the way to go. Okay, so that's like my little quick little finger lesson there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this scrap piece of paper. And I am going to put it over here, actually, and remove my warm-up. And just bear with me a second while I set up and switch over to getting some photo reference, and then we'll draw. Now, maybe you want to draw along with me. That'd be kind of cool. Everybody learns differently. Some people learn through listening, some people learn through watching, and other people learn through doing. So you figure out what's best for you. Now, I don't think you need to see me here. So let me get rid of me and let's put in, no, not scene two. Let me just move this over. Let's go. Bear with me, people. It's just little old me over here. I don't have a team of people. If you consider my French bulldog over there, Truffles, my team, but they're sleeping. They're sleeping right now. I used to have a team when I first started my website, and yeah, I like going solo. I like doing things off the cuff. I don't like moving a big ship. I like moving a speedboat. You can turn it quicker than a ship. And so if it's just me, one person, I'm a little bit more nimble that way. And I don't have to worry about people relying on me. Okay, I actually, yes, I wanted to do another like quick like little thing. I got to do this. I got to do this. Okay, back to the warm-up paper. And then we'll go back to that page here momentarily. Okay, so yes, I got this. I got this. I got this. All right. So when you draw a hand, it starts at the elbow. Here's my elbow, right? Or the elbow of the model. And so your elbow goes down. It's really your ulna bone. So now we go down. I want to make sure I have enough room on this scrap piece of paper. So this is your ulna bone, right? And it goes to your elbow. And so your forearm muscles would droop down, ulna, and this is your forearm. I'm just doing this out of my imagination quickly. And this is your forearm, and it's kind of like an S curve. So this would be round, 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 all of that round, and this could be like your bicep area. Okay, cool. Now, what you've got to remember about drawing hands, and this made my life so much easier when like I learned this, and maybe I can bring the ulnar bone in and not so close to the edge over there. And that is that your hand pretty much to the knuckles is kind of like a box. And I'm going to shade one side of that box. Once I learned that, like all bets were off. I'm like, oh, okay, darn it. I understand this now. Like your hand is a box. And if I go, I'm butchering the ulna bone. My apologies. So yeah, so that is huge for me, that your wrist is a box at the ulna bone, and your palm of your hand, back of your hand is a box too. And so that just helped me like understand things, and it took the complication out of everything. And then like I started to think about fingers, first phalange, second phalange, third phalange, and drawing fingers together like that. Like this is so very, very, very important. I can't explain. Like once I started doing this, then it was like, oh, damn, okay, I could do this. And then if we wrap around the joint line, and then these fingers, if they're together like a mitten, they kind of come down and they go like that, and they get darker as they pull away from the light. Now, what I could also do here on this quick like little sketch, and my hand is not in proportion to my forearm, so I could kick my forearm and kick my tricep out a little bit. It's still like a little bit wonky, but you'll forgive me. So now we've got a little side plane to the fingers like that. So not every hand makes a box, but this is helpful. So it's going around the knuckles, going around the joint line, going around the joint line. And if you can think of your hands like that, it will help you speed up the process of drawing a hand. Okay, let's get rid of this little thing here. So far what we talked about, people, on the live stream is we talked about the power of warming up. We talked about the good old-fashioned finger bones. There's 3 of them. And I never knew this when I used to draw hands, and I just used to wing it but there's the one closest to your knuckles in the middle and then your fingertip. Don't draw a cigar finger and just think about not going all the way across with those joint lines. Okay, don't outline your fingernail. Show the front plane of the fingers. Okay, cool. Now we can finally start to draw from this photo reference. All right, and I'm just going to put a couple more pieces of tape down so this piece of paper isn't like floating on my computer screen here. Okay. I'm looking for a little bit of a longer pencil. I really despise drawing with short pencils. They're all pretty short. So I'm gonna tough it out. Ooh, this one's a little bit longer. Kind of, sorta. Okay. And gotcha. So let's draw both of these hands. Well, one of them I'll spend like a little bit more time on. And where am I with this? Let me just put a mark for the bottom of my monitor or my camera. Cool. Okay, so bottom and then edge. Gotcha. Cool. All right. So now this hand, this first hand, I'm not going to marry them up. I'm just drawing here for space. I'm leaving like a little room over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is gesture lines. So I'm drawing like, it's kind of like curved angles, which is the bark plate. So this would be the finger. This would be the back of the hand. And yes. So I'm just looking at my reference here. I need to move my reference over a tad. Better. Okay, thank you, reference. So that's my quick sketch. So now fingers are shorter than the back of the hand. So I'm going to go across with a line of action for the knuckles. And then I just might draw my line that separates the light from the shadow. And kind of what you always want to do is draw the wrist. You never really want to draw a hand without the wrist. Okay, so I'm going to move this over a touch. So that is how I would think about the box shape. Now, if I'm going to do this, here's the little finger knuckle. And yeah, totally. So I'm going to get, this is a side plane of the box that I just showed you. Now, where is that ulna bone? I'm going to say that ulna bone is like somewhere around there. And yes, so now we have this wrist feels a little bit more like a box. And you can almost see the ulna bone is kind of like that line that you see there on that wrist. I want to put this in because I think it's vital. And I'm actually going to lift up my side shadow over here. So I'm being very rough with it all. Think of this as like a hand gesture. And so this is so we all don't get so caught up with perfection. So now what I might do to simplify my life is I'm going to say, oh, okay, cool. The back of the hand is in shadow. The back of the hand is in shadow. So now I've got some sort of surface planes going on, and this is actually casting a shadow on the wrist. There's a couple of folds of skin, but I'm going to kind of stay away from putting those lines there because they tend to chop up the wrist and the hand a little bit, and I don't want to do that. So I'm not even concerned about the thumb. Ignore the thumb right now. Let's just kind of get organic continuous lines. So there's this finger that is very short, okay, and then this finger which is shorter still. And you see, now it's a little bit easy because we kind of have a placemat for the fingers. So don't feel the need to outline them so crisply. All right, so now I'm just going to kind of do that. And so now I can get knuckle. So there's this knuckle. I'm not going to outline it. It's just an oval. Okay, we've got like another little knuckle over here. And I've got like another little knuckle right over there. So that is truly my quick way. Now, if I wanted to push this a little bit more, I could. So, yep, and line that separates light from the dark. And I'm not going to erase anything here today, so I can come on down and come on down a little bit. So that is our quick way. Now, where's that thumb? The thumb is kind of grabbing the rope, and I'm just going to suggest. And it's a phalange and a phalange right about here. And so that would be my thumb. All right. So it's rough. I got you. But I'm trying to give you the quick way to think about drawing the hand. Now, if I wanted to, I can do like a little bit of a side plane. There's not too much of a side plane on these fingers because they're really being squeezed together. Now, I could come back and pull back my knuckle a little bit and pull back this knuckle. The knuckles are where bone is showing, and that's where you would put your highlights on the fingers, okay? So in essence here, what we've got is we've got a little bit of a box with the knuckles. I'm going to kind of draw over things. And then our fingers, and then the box for the wrist, and then our thumb comes last. Okay, now what about the other hand? So the other hand up top, I like to, now this is a different way for you to start thinking about hands. It's just, I'm going to draw the entire thing in this oval. So again, I'm drawing a little bit more gestural today, a little bit more loose. Maybe one of them I'll try to tighten up a little bit. So let me just look at the comments. Oh, drawing hands, I see Constantinus. Welcome. And question, what is the ideal study routine for memorizing various aspects of the human anatomy? It's different aspects good for retaining. So what you've got to do, so okay, just let me stop with this hand for a second and answer this question for Constantinus. So I start with, for me, the human torso. So can you see this? Yes, you can. So the human torso is the first most important thing, in my opinion, that you should memorize in terms of anatomy. And I think it's the easiest, actually. I won't get too sidetracked. I want to get back to that hand. So the first thing you say to yourself, okay, that's the front view. What's on the front view of the human torso? So the rib cage. So my rib cage would go here. And that's my first rib. And this is the sternum, and that's the costal margin. Okay, cool. So I've got my rib cage. And then on the pelvis side of things, I'm going to draw like an ellipse, and my pelvis would go here. So this is called your iliac crest. Iliac crest. And then from your iliac crest, you have a ligament that goes to your pubic bone above your privates, and it makes a V shape. So in between your pubic bone and your sternum is your navel. Okay. Now, if you could memorize that, holy Moses, then you can build off of that. And you can say, okay, what's next? What else would I add? Those are the basic bones. If I wanted to, I could add like a collarbone, and I could add a collarbone. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more jazzed up now. Maybe now I'm going to start to inject a little bit of muscle anatomy. So what covers surface muscles, not deep right now. So I've got my pectoralis muscle, and I've got my pectoralis muscle like right there. And so I could add that. I could add the abs. So the abs kind of connect from the costal margin down to the pubic bone. So it's really an 8-pack. So I would do something like that. I'm being rough with it. And then I've got my oblique. So my obliques are kind of on the side, and maybe I can kick out my abs a little bit. So now what I've got on this torso is I've got a couple of bones, a rib cage, and a little bit of the pelvis. I know this looks like one big hot mess, but this is how you start to memorize things. And then you can get a little bit deeper. Like maybe I'll see a little bit of the lat muscle. Maybe I'll see some serratus anterior. Maybe I'll see a little lat muscle over here, serratus anterior, serratus anterior. And then if I want, I could hit, well, okay, I'm going to draw another hand for you. Just give me like 1 more minute to complete this. So now it would be, I can press down harder, rib rolling in, oblique, lat muscle, serratus anterior, rib coming in, oblique, and pubic bone, and acis for your pelvis, and inguinal ligament, and pectoralis, Okay, I don't want to turn this into anatomy lesson. And collarbone. And oh, okay, trapezius. So you do one bone a week, superimpose it on top of a figure drawing. When you're done with all of the bones, then you go and you start to learn the muscles. Okay, so that, like, I feel the easiest way to learn anatomy is the torso. Okay, so now let's draw that other hand. Let's draw that other hand. Sandy, hi Sandy. No big deal. I'm not really announcing a time, but I appreciate you joining us here today. So this other hand, so it lives in this oval. Now I'm gonna do my thumb muscle angle. My thumb. Oh, there's the thumb. Okay, it's kind of obscured by the little rope, and so looping down fat pad and thumb muscle. Okay, I'm being gestural today, people. We're not doing realism here today. And so now I'm going to do this finger. So it loops down, and it's my last digit loop down. And I'm not even going to deal with the fingernail just yet. Now, is that too big? Is that too big? Maybe it's too big, but I'm cool with that. So I can always taper it in a little bit. So now let's do the other fingertip. It loops down, the phalange loops down, and then I've got the joint. And now the other finger here. See how this is fitting into this oval? So see, now we can do the loop down and then our fingertip loop down, and we're kind of hugging the other finger, and then our last pinky finger. Can I say pinky? Yes. Okay. And so that kind of looks like a little torso shape right there. And then we have the little finger muscles. Do you see how quickly I just drew that hand? And why did it go quick? It went quick. If I can draw a freaking line here for the wrist. It went quick because we inserted it into the oval. Now, of course, I left a boatload of information out. But I want to give you quick. So just suggest fingernail, suggest the fingernail, a little suggestion, and I barely see that fingernail because it's in the shadow. Now, I could do a little bit of shading on that surface plane and suggest. And I don't want to shade too much here. I'm just kind of suggesting things and maybe suggest that fingernail. And then you can go a little darker with the lines in between where the fingers are touching. So now flow. And that's the way that I would go about drawing that hand within the oval. So what we could talk about here in this live stream here today on YouTube. This is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. Thank you for joining me here today. So basically, you want to think about the hand sometimes as a box to the knuckles, and other times the hand is not a box. Sometimes it feels like it could fit a little bit better into an oval. It depends. Now, if you look at my hand right now, I'm making a box. But I could go like that, and I'm making a weird triangular shape. That's an oval, kind of. So your hand, I think that portraits are hard to draw, but there's nothing harder than the hand because it contorts into all these funky kind of shapes, which makes it really hard. Hey, Reese. I'm animating hands right now. Okay, so this is perfect. Thank you, Reese. I appreciate that. Reese, later I got a sketchbook video. Deanne's coming out at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. tonight. You're going to give Deanne a thumbs up, right? Right. Thank you. Hands are challenging to draw, no doubt. Okay, I think we need to go to another hand. Let's go to another hand. So box or ovals? Box or ovals? Okay. Look for these. Today we're doing hand gestures. This is your rhythm line of the knuckles. This is that kind of big oval for that hand. Gesture, like people. Gesture. Okay, I don't know. What hands do I want to draw next? Do we want to draw What are these? Ooh, that one's pretty. Yeah. Okay, but where is my paper? I don't see my paper there. What up with that? What is that white there? Well, that's no good. Funky. Okay, let's go to scene one. Okay, let's draw these. Let's draw these. And I'm just going to move this sheet of paper. You got to bear with me, people. You got to bear with me. I got to move shit around here. How do I want to do this? New sheet of paper. Moving this paper around is going to be too weird. Why is that other hand not working? I got to figure that shit out. That's a beautiful hand for me to draw and help everybody with. Okay. So, new sheet of paper. New sheet of paper. Time to tape it down. Okay, people. We're good. Okay. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, so maybe I can do something like this. It's going to be weird. Let's focus on that hand. Okay, and let me put my grayscale here, just so my camera doesn't just look at white paper. And I need a little drink of water. I need a little drink of water. No, I haven't seen that hand model. Okay. Let's draw this hand right now. And I need to be able to see it to draw it for you. There we go. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. Right here. Cool. So, is that on the screen? Yes, it is. I am doing, today's is about hand gestures. So, it's just line of action. That's my line of action. It's going from the wrist to the pointer finger. Kind of like that. Now, I'm going to just get my tilt of angles of the fingertips. And then I'm coming on down this away. Hand into the wrist. And something like that. Okay. I like outlines. Some teachers feel that outlines are no good, but to each their own. So maybe, let's see how I did here. So I'm going to draw my knuckles with a gesture line. Gesture line for my knuckles. And then I'll come up with this knuckle here. And then I'll come down. And so now what I'm going to do, everybody on YouTube, is I'm going to just shade the back of the hand. And look, we've got what bone? Or ulna bone. The ulna bone is a great bone for you to start learning anatomy through because it's easy. It's easy. And it shows up on every single forearm because your forearms don't carry like a lot of fat pad. And so you see the bones like a lot. And so now you can almost like see the ulna bone going. And so I can kind of roll this wrist up, make it a little bit thicker. And I don't really see too much of the box, but I'm going to force it. So this would be the side of that hand a little bit. And then it flows, everybody, into the side of the wrist, kind of just like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I could show more of the wrist, but it's all good. So now that is my gesture to draw this hand. So now I can be like, okay, let's slow down. Let's slow down. And now first loop down. Second loop down. Boy, that was some slur. And then my third one, which is our fingertip phalange. Done. Now, look, I'm shortening the hand. this was my kind of target to figure out how long is this hand. So maybe I went a little long there. That's okay. It's just a hand gesture. So now I can be like, okay, fingertip. This person's got pretty nails. They knew they were having a photo shoot. And then next fingertip for the ring finger. And then our little finger. I could make these fingers a little bit taller, so let me do that. Yes. And the little finger now. It's going to kind of roll down. I'm going to kind of chop a little bit off of the hand, roll up, lift up my ulna bone, adjust on the go, people. So look, if you make a mistake like I did, it's no biggie. Just adjust, just adjust. So I'm just like adjusting here. I'm making the hand like a little bit less thick, and I'm going over my line. I'm making it thicker. I'm clinging onto the ulna bone over here, and our ulna bone goes like that. And now I can drop the forearm muscles here. I know that's going off of the screen a little bit, so let me bring it back. Okay, so now let's come back here. So we've got our first knuckle. And this right over here that you see is an extensor tendon, and it lifts your finger up. So I'm going to suggest that extensor tendon. I'm going to draw a little bit of that knuckle, and then there is kind of another extensor tendon that lifts that. Well, we're not lifting our middle finger up here today. No, I would never, ever. I was talking about this in class. The Colorase is the worst pencil for newsprint because newsprint is very thin, and Colorase is very hard sometimes, and it's sharp, and it goes right through the newsprint. And it's not the pencil for newsprint. You want to get more of a soft graphite, like a 4B, 3B, or a China marker grease pencil style thing. So we've got some of those. Now let's focus on the fingers now. So what I'm going to do is suggest a little separation. So let's start here. So we've got a loop down, joint, loop down, like we talked about, loop down, loop down, loop down. So now this next finger, so I can still adjust, and I'm going to loop down. Okay, and then our little finger, I'm going to get the last phalange digit, distal, and then our medial phalange into the fold of skin over here, and then I want to wrap around that cylinder. And I'm suggesting a little bit of the side plane of that little finger. And I'm going to suggest a suggestion. How's that? Suggest a suggestion of that fingernail. Suggest the fingernail. And suggest the fingernail. Okay, so what I can also do with these fingers is just indicate a little 1 or 2 folds of skin. 1 or 2 folds of skin, and just like that, and 1 or 2 folds of skin. So now, if I wanted to, I could play a little bit with drawing the thumb. So we have our thumb over here. I usually always like to draw the thumb last. That way just works for me. It doesn't work for other people, but you got to find out what works best for you. And so now I could play with some form lines, indicating a little bit of the knuckles. I don't want to go too crazy with this. And that is kind of how I would quickly draw this hand. Okay, I could push it, and I can do like side plane value, and a little bit of this bone is a little bit darker because it's turning away from the light. I can suggest over here, and I might do this a little bit more so like on purpose. I like, see what I'm doing right now? I'm kind of just suggesting that the finger has a side and a top. And that's actually kind of fun to do as well. So that is a quick hand gesture. Notice I'm trying to get my lines to kind of go with the lay of the land. Okay. So not bad, not good, not bad, just a hand. And we could really push. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Somebody rang my doorbell. 1 second. The hazards of a live stream. All right. The hazards of filming live, people. Okay, let's do another hand. I appreciate you being patient with me. So let's do another hand. Let's see. Let me move to a different scene. Let's go to scene 2. Okay. So I'm going to draw this hand right on top of that hand. This is a really beautiful looking hand. Let me just drop my paper a wee bit so I have room to draw this hand. And so what's the theme of how I like to draw hands? Well, I don't like to outline fingernails. I don't like to draw fingers separately. I kind of like to draw them together, right? And I think that's the easier way to do it. Okay, let me take a little bit of a pause and look at some of these questions. Matt, I actually like how you said to draw the outline silhouette of the hand, and it helps. Even Josh Black recommended doing practice hands. Yep. Am I the only one who has to count the fingers? No, we all do. Absolutely. No bueno colorase on newsprint. Is Mitsubishi 10B good for newsprint? Any B pencil is going to be good for newsprint. Are there any thin clips or something similar that can hold newsprint on a tilted drafting table without sliding? Yeah, I use clips on my newsprint pad all the time. I use a clip something like this on my newsprint pad, and because the newsprint pad is so clumsy and some of them are like so thick, and if you, like when this video is done and you go to my channel and you click on posts, I just posted up one sheet of paper with a bunch of drawings on it from life drawing class, and there's clips at the top. So that's usually what I use there. Okay, let's draw this other hand and pencil. Cool. Yeah, it's funny when you do a live stream. I feel like, am I gonna use? I feel like I should use the same pencil. I called somebody to do something at my house like 2 weeks ago. When do they show up? They show up when I'm in the middle of a live stream. And they said on the phone I didn't need to like see them. They were doing this outside, and it's a survey. of the property, whatever. And I'm like, really? Did you have to ring the doorbell in the middle of the live stream? And did you have to come when I'm filming this? Like I do this once a week, and so boom, they come right when I'm doing it. Okay, no harm, no foul. This hand. So this is a little bit more. Is that on the screen? No, I'm gonna go off. This is a little bit more bark plate-ish, right? So there's our ulna bone. It's on every hand. Let me, 1 second. I want to go put my dog up on the chair. She can't jump anymore. She's getting old. Hold on, folks. There you go. Okay. So ulna bone at the wrist, angle into the little finger, swan neck, loop down, little finger around this. Now, this type of hand, I like to think of it, I know this is going to sound so weird, but I like to think of it as like a crushed styrofoam coffee cup. So there's my lips near the knuckles, something like that. And so with this, I am going to do angles. So I'm going to go from my little finger to the pointer finger and then up, then thumb, loop, and loop. Okay, so now I get to lean back and look at my disaster that I'm drawing here for you. So that is my first go through. So now let's adjust everything. So I'm going to do my line of action here, line of action into the little finger. And I want to do to this pointer finger, glance at the negative space in between the thumb and the pointer finger. Good. And then loop, loop, into the wrist. Now this wrist is very round, very round, very round. Kind of loops down and convex line. And let me move my photo reference over a little bit. And let me move my reference. There we go. Awesome. Okay. Almost there. Just adjusting. So you have to give this wrist a little bit of thickness. I see like a lot of my students, sometimes they'll make wrists extremely thin. And so, okay, this again, like I said, is very, very, very different. It's angles, whereas the other ones are a little bit more organic and oval-like. So I think this angle is not right, so I'm going to bring the thumb in just a little bit so it doesn't look like it's swollen. Better. Okay, and so now I'm going to start all over again. So since I didn't think this hand was going to give me problems, I'm like, oh, this is an easy one. I'll do it. No problem. And no, not quite. So I underestimated this hand. So whenever I struggle, my default is tone. So I'm going to put tone in, just like that. And once I put tone in, it helps me to see things. And so you need to figure out also for you, like, what is something that helps you draw better instantly. So for me, it's always going to be tone. Tone always helps me to draw better instantly. And I try to get the students to use a little bit more value of tone because I think it's really underappreciated in the animation department, and I think it's viable. Okay, so that is our block-in of the fingers and the hand. Now what we can do is we could start to just adjust and start to outline some things, and let's see how far off I am. So we've got the ring finger, and it kind of loops down. I'm just going to draw it. And so now we've got the middle finger. Yes, I am counting the fingers. And then we've got the pointer finger. Loop down to the fingertip. So do you see how all those fingers are fitting within that shape of angle? If that makes sense. It's not perfect, but it's close enough for this lesson here today. So now what I could do is I could start to play with some little tips I can teach you for each finger. So what I would do now is I would show a little bit of shape of value for the side plane of that finger. Okay. This finger is the biggest box of all of them. So I could say, oh, let's see here. Let me just do some adjusting. We've got like a little bit of a box over here, so that would be the side plane. I'm just looking. And side plane. And it goes behind the pointer finger. Just looking and just paying a little closer attention to the contour. There's that finger in the hair right there. Just suggest it. Cool. And so that is, let's just suggest a little bit of the side plane of the knuckle. And some fold of skin. Fold of skin, suggestion of the fingernail. Now, we can't really see the tip of the finger there. And a suggestion of our thumb nail. Let's adjust the thumb. A little line over there and loop down, fat pad. Cool. So it's far from perfect, but it's good enough for the live stream. And that is my quick way that I would go about drawing that hand right there. Okay. So when I look at it, maybe my pointer finger is a little clumsy. Maybe it could be a little bit longer, which would make it a little bit more graceful. So we can just lengthen it. Now, you see what I did here? I made this too dark. And so that is a very clumsy, dark line that just takes the looseness out of it all. Hello, Elizabeth from the Netherlands. Very cool. Very cool. I noticed the lower part of the wrist where the digits and knuckles connect looks like a curved cigarette box. It does. It does. Totally. So let's see. I'm glad I have a microphone that does not pick up dog noise. So we're going around. Now, what I would just like to do, everybody, is get one more hand to draw for you all. And then maybe we'll call this live stream done in a little bit. But, you know, these are two more like loose hand gestures. So what I like to do, again, is I like to do this kind of downward stroke to my fingertips, and they just become looser that way. And I could be a little bit more graceful with some of this. Yeah. Okay. So again, we're doing gestures today. Now, perhaps my gesture line of the knuckles is going like that. And this, everybody, is the crushed styrofoam coffee cup. So this hand it's a box, but it's also a cylinder. Okay? It's also a cylinder. So let me just bear with me. I want to do one thing here, and I want to get a photo and bring it over here so I could. No. Where are my hands? Where did I put those things? Oh, I see. Okay, just bear with me for a second, everybody. It's in downloads, and it was how to draw hands. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Hang in there, everybody. I just want to get like another hand. Oh, there it is. How to draw hands. And ooh, that's a nice one. Okay. Ooh, that's a nice one. Okay, let's get this one. Oh, it's very complicated. So I'm going and I'm doing this. Oh, come on, just load for me, please. I'm going to try that one more time. Ah, yes. Look at this hand. This hand is awesome. Okay. This is our last hand of the day, people. And let me just make it so I can see the reference. And there we go. Almost there. Awesome. Now, maybe I can squeeze this one on this sheet of paper. Um, maybe not. Okay. Okay, I just need to tape this piece of paper down. Bear with me. And a couple more pieces of tape, and we'll draw this hand. This is a very cool hand. A little drink of water here. Now, listen, I would love it if you all could leave a comment at the end of this video. Just comments are really, really important when the video is done, like the actual video. I think that would be good. Now, listen, can you tell me if you hear my dogs barking? They did discontinue selling separate color erase pencils. Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate that. Oh, you do hear them. Okay, I got to close my office door. Um, I don't know. I don't have a good color erase alternative. Maybe what I'll do at the end here, I'll show you my go-to pencils that I use. Oh, you can. Damn it. Can you hear my music? That's another question. God, I've had this mic for like over 10 years. I forgot what it is. It's a Rode, Rode. You can't hear my music. Okay, good. Um, okay, let's do this hand, people. Um, yes. So this hand, yeah, it does dampen. It's USB. It does dampen things, and I think that is like the best. The only problem with it is your mouth needs to be so close to it. I hope it sounds good for everybody. Okay, so hand. So this hand, do I have enough room if I draw there? So okay. I'm doing my Zoom class for my DTO members today, and I'm switching gears completely. We are going to do an oil painting landscape. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so here's my ulna bone right there, and we have other side of our wrist, thumb area, thumb muscle, thumb phalange, thumb, distal phalange. And so now I'm going to just go. That thumb feels very big. It feels very big, but I'm not going to judge it. So I'm going to do angle, fingertip, angle, angle, angle down. So that might be my shape for this hand, but if I'm going to be honest with you, it doesn't feel right to me. It feels very tall. So let me see if I can't fix that. So maybe now what I'll do, and this is going to be really good because it'll show you how I fix my mistakes. So maybe that's like a little bit better. Now I'm not going to like say, oh God damn, I've screwed up. So who cares? I'm just going to say, you know what? I'm going to take this part of the hand and I'm going to turn it into the side plane of the palm of the hand. So my mistake lines become a positive because I can shade there. Even though there's shading on the other side, I can still do that as well. But now let's just keep going here. Let's see. So there is no such thing as the spine of the hand, but I always say there's the separation between our little finger muscle section and our thumb muscle section. And I always see it in the palm of the hand, like there's like a little line there. I call it the spine. And I'm just going to do something like that where now I'm indicating where that hand is kind of touching the wrist. And so now let's go back and let me indicate where that thumb starts. I can't really see what's going on there. Excuses, right? And so now back to the thumb. And now let's look at that negative space. So, okay, a little bit better. Now let's just start with getting the little finger. So it loops down. It loops down. Good. And maybe it doesn't loop down that much. I want to just try to get this a little bit more gestural. So little finger. Cool. And now the other finger is very close to the thumb. So I'm getting, oh, I forgot a little bit of fingertip and fingertip, and now loop down. This angles that way. And I'm almost on my angles line there, my bark plate angles. So now I've got a loop down for a fat pad loop down, and the other finger this joint is right there, or phalange, I should say, fingertip. Okay, I'll take that all day long. We'll clean it up here in a moment. Now I'm just going to get this shadow, cast shadow it is, not a shadow. And now this fingertip. So I can bring this a little lower now because I think I had mentioned that it felt too tall. And okay, so maybe it's there. And now this finger, how far away is it from the thumb? Not too far, so it's going to fat pad loop down. Look at the negative space mat in between. Okay, cool. And boy, it's amazing. This pencil really is pretty soft on this paper. So my negative space feels a little bit too wide. So we've got a loop down of that medial phalanx, and then good and good, good. So that's my quick go through. Okay, is it perfect? No, not even close, people. When I study, this is from Constantinus. Yeah, absolutely. When I study female gesture poses, I notice forearm and upper arm look almost disjointed in outstretched arm poses. There's a formula for doing arms. I can maybe briefly talk about that at the end. Okay, so that's how I might do the gesture of this hand. So now I feel the palm of the hand is too big, so we can bring it here. Better. And so now let's just kind of add some other doodads to finish this off. So we've got our thumb. Good. And wrap around, wrap around. I don't want to do too many of those. A couple folds of skin right over there. I like to do fingertips a different value than the top of the finger because it makes it look a wee bit more dimensional. and I can kind of come up here and fingertip. Don't outline the fingernail 100%. This would loop up and suggest the top plane. This should loop down, and that is the angle of the top plane, and then it angles down that a ways. Now gravity is going to pull down this fat pad, and it's going to wrap up. We can show like a little bit of the side of that finger, and then that phalange is casting a shadow on that one. Okay, cool. Now let's focus in on this little finger, and the fingernail is kind of overhanging the cylinder front plane, but we'll just suggest it. So that is a convex line that rolls in, convex line that rolls in. Now we've got this, and I could adjust this. Make your edges look complicated. And, I forgot that there's a cast shadow. And I think adding a little suggestion of the cast shadow would be fun. And it would also make that little finger kind of pop. Now, I can't see any information there. Let me just... I can't see any information in this section. So I'm just going to put in that cast shadow. And so now let's just go back up to this finger. This rolls in, convex. Don't make the finger look too fat at the fingertip. I think it could be slightly taller. I'm really struggling with that aspect. Okay, good. And now the last little finger, get the fingernail suggestion, but don't outline the fingernail. It loops up, convex line, underplane shadow. Loop down. And cool. So that's my other quick hand here. Now, maybe what we'll do is just close with a quick figure pose, a gestural figure pose, because I just want to practice that a little bit before I do my painting class. So this one, we got a little bit more into the weeds with the details. Now, again, I'm not worried about realism on this live stream. That's not what this live stream is about. It's about hand gestures, and it's kind of also about me suggesting key things for you to remember, which would be each finger has 3 bones, and they loop down. That's their shape, and you've got to do that. Don't outline the fingernails. Try your very best to show that each finger has a front plane, so it's not flat to the viewer. These are really, really super duper important things. And again, gestural. Okay. All right. Let's see. We've been at it for an hour and 15 minutes. And I think I'm just going to kind of close with a little bit of a figure gesture, see what I can do here with this. Okay. So that was fun. Last one. Let me move this sheet of paper like that. I'll just go upside down with it. Cool. Tape it down once again. Okay, gesture. Do I have room? So, quick way to draw a gesture of the model. So, torso. Torso. Torso first. Gesture. Gesture line. And letter C for the head. Now I should lower this. Oh, good evening. Where are you, Artem? It's the middle of the afternoon for me. It's actually 1 p.m. I've got a painting class in 1 hour. Holy Moses, I need coffee. I'm just adjusting my sheet of paper. Okay. So I like to start my gestures like that. I would love to do this on the Cintiq for all of you because that's what I draw best on. And one day I would also like to draw on my iPad. I should have done this on the iPad actually. Okay, so gesture. So now what I'm going to do is just come back and add some lines inside and start to press down a little bit harder on my pencil and rib cage. Rib, breast, costal margin, collarbone, and other breast, deltoid, arm coming on down. Let's do this leg. I'm sorry, yeah, let's do this leg. So just going to do something like this for the front plane of that knee. It almost kind of looks like a knee pad, and gravity is going to droop down that hamstring if I can draw it right. A little clumsy there. I don't know why I was so clumsy with that. Flowing hair. Add some shape of value. I'm just going to go totally shadowy with maybe this arm could be like a little bit more. See, when you do these like gestures, you got to be sloppy. Like the minute you try to be neat, it's just going to go bad really quickly. And so I'm just kind of like mucking around. And so now I could come back and I could just focus in on one area. So let's go to the shoulder, breast, wrap around. I'm starting to get a little shaky here. When I hold my hand above my heart for a while, it my hand always starts to get like a little shaky. My hand, think about the tilt. Bicep. Maybe this little pocket would be in shadow. Maybe shadow over here. So I'm really scribbling. Let's go thicker with the line, and there it breaks the pencil. So let's get another pencil. Just mucking around here, and I think I'm just about done, people. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. And it was a ton of fun. And I wish I could have not been so distracted with all the shit going on outside my house, but I guess that's life, right? So I'm just scribbling. Boy, this person looks scary. Holy shit. Okay. Okay, man, that's a mess. Oh my God, that's so much fun. All right. I appreciate all of you watching. I would appreciate if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And maybe next week I'll try to do something digital. It's 5 p.m. there. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. If you haven't given this video a like, please give it a like. And if you could maybe when the live stream ends, go maybe leave a comment in the comment section of what you're looking forward to me drawing in the future. That could be interesting. And so then you have some input as to what I teach. And I think that'd be really cool. And today at 6 p.m. New York time, there's this incredible sketchbook video from one of my students, Diyan, Diyan, and they are so shy. They barely talk to me, but they are so talented. And it's hard to hear Diyan in the video, so it's just focus on the drawings. Most of the drawings that Diyan does are completely out of Diyan's imagination. Let me just switch my scene here so you're... Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so tonight, 6 p.m., New York time, Diyan. And Sketchbook is amazing. If you go to my channel and you go click on posts, you'll see some of Diyan's drawings, and they're just amazing. I just can't believe how good Diyan is, because all of the drawings are done out of Diyan's imagination. So crazy. All right, people, I'm gonna go take a little break before my painting class. If you're interested in learning more about what else I do outside of YouTube, check out drawingtutorialsonline.com, and you can read up a little bit about what I do there. All right, have a great day. Talk soon. Next Tuesday, people.